Alanah Jewell, or Morningstar Designs, is a passionate Indigenous artist from the Bear Clan and Oneida Nation of the Thames in southwestern Ontario. Jewell has been a full-time artist for 5 years now, specializing in materials such as digital illustration and acrylic and oil paintings, but has spent plenty of time practicing with other mediums such as beadwork, stained glass, and 2D sculptures. In her 5 years working as a full-time artist, Alanah Jewell has worked alongside many well-known companies such as Facebook, Instagram, Aritzia, Winners, and Disney. From this work, she has assisted in advocating and being an activist for Indigenous people in both Canada and the United States. Over the time that Alanah Jewell has spent as an artist, she has grown and found a deeper connection to her culture than ever before. In an interview with Aaron Appleby from the Community Edition, Jewell mentioned that she had felt disconnected to her Oneida and Haudenosaunee culture. She quotes, "I grew up knowing I was Bear Clan, and that's all I really knew about my culture. It was the only thing that I had processed about my culture." At the conclusion of her second year of sociology at Wilfrid Laurier University, she took a fateful trip to Scotland. With a 7-hour overseas flight, Jewell bought an iPad to keep herself occupied. Those 7 fateful hours laid the foundation for her love of art. Jewell cites Indigenous artist Norval Morrisseau as one of her inspirations and someone who paved the way for Indigenous artists to pick up a paintbrush and express themselves on a canvas. Through what started as a hobby, Alanah Jewell turned her hobby into a career after graduating from Laurier and grew her connection to her culture. In the same interview with Aaron Appleby, Jewell states, "Creating art is a way to reclaim and a way to create representation, a way to network and meet other Indigenous people in order to create our own culture in our own little community in a city." In 2023, Alanah Jewell had her first public art piece placed in the Wilfrid Laurier University. At the unveiling of her art piece entitled Turtle Island Creation Story, she had said, "Before I lived in Waterloo, I didn't have any access to any culture or teaching or ceremony. I always knew I was Indigenous and had those connections to the reserve and my family. The first day I was here, I went to the Indigenous Student Center and they welcomed me and made me feel like I belonged. I worked there from second year until graduation." Another piece of art that resembles Jewell's culture is a piece entitled Kinship. This piece displays a coral background, plants, birds, fish, a bear, and deer. In her artist statement, Jewell said, "Kinship is a reflection of 2 different parallel worlds, one where we long to be connected to community, and one where we are fully immersed in community." Put on display in 2020 by the Downtown Kitchener Business Improvement Area, this piece and many others were created to serve the community by bringing people together from a distance to add beauty in the downtown space. As said in Jewell's artist statement for this display, "The distance we feel from community is collective and connects us to one another as a form of distant kinship." In regards to her artwork, Alanah Jewell mentioned, "I hope kinship bridges the gap between these worlds and inspires people to reach out, build meaningful relationships, and understand the importance of belonging to community."
Alanah Jewell's art shows clear influence from something she feels the most connected to, the earth and nature. When asked, "What really inspires your art?" Alanah Jewell replied, "I'm also really inspired by the natural world. I go on a long walk every day and regularly go for long hikes alongside rivers, in forests, and through fields. I love witnessing nature's change, buds sprouting, flowers blooming, and plants growing all inspire me to try and capture the feeling I get from witnessing this growth and change." In an interview with the Waterloo Chronicle, she had also mentioned, "I'm always trying to identify plants and see how natural colors exist in the world. Beautiful colors that I would never really consider before being an artist." Alanah describes her artistic style as modern woodland, which is focused on plant life, wildlife, animals, berries, and florals, and has rooted her work in nature and an animal's environment. She explains that when she paints an animal, she also likes to be mindful of its habitat, the food it would be eating, and including where it would typically live. In regards to this style of art, Jewell said in the same interview, "I don't descend from woodland people. I'm not an Anishinaabe. I've evolved into softer paintings and illustrations without these thick black outlines, but still bold color as well as muted tones reflecting the natural world. I still use elements like clan animals, the sun and moon, plants, and florals." In March 2025, Alanah Jewell collaborated with the Professional Women's Hockey League to create a piece to honor Indigenous heritage and those who paved the path for Indigenous women and girls hockey today. Through this piece, viewers see an Indigenous woman playing hockey, an eagle, and a nighttime sky. Each of these symbols hold major significance to Alanah Jewell and Indigenous women in sport. The braid in the woman's hair represents strength, wisdom, and connection to culture. The eagle represents spiritual guidance and serves as a reminder that you will never walk alone. Lastly, the land and sky reinforce the strong connection Indigenous people have with the land and honoring the traditions of hockey in the natural world. In response to this art piece, Jewell said, "I hope this artwork inspires people to honor their values while doing the things they love."
As previously mentioned, Alanah Jewell first began creating art as a way to distract herself from flight anxiety. While on a flight to Scotland, she took out her iPad and pencil to pass the time, began doodling, and soon discovered that she enjoyed creating Indigenous digital art. Over the next year and a half, she continued to create casually as a way to relax after school until 2019 when she decided to pursue it full-time. Her deep passion for art has brought Jewell many incredible experiences. More recently, Alanah Jewell has teamed up with the Gord Downey and Cheney Wenjack Fund and Joe Fresh to create shirts for the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. In a video released by Joe Fresh, Jewell discusses how this shirt signifies how Indigenous people move through grief, and most importantly, how this journey through grief leads them home. The design represents protection for all, including guests and visitors who are lost and may need a place of safety. The flowers hold special meaning for the beauty of culture and the resilience all Indigenous people share. The Sky Dome shows honor for the physical and spiritual aspects of culture, as well as all those who have felt the impact of a residential school and the children who hadn't come home. This collaboration serves as an important step in Jewell's career as she uses her art to give back to the Indigenous communities across Canada and remember and honor those who felt and continue to feel the horrific impact of residential schools.
One reason teachers might consider introducing students to Alanah Jewell is to show that it's never too late to explore and embrace your Indigenous heritage, even if you didn't grow up immersed in your culture. Like many Indigenous people, Alanah Jewell wasn't raised connected to her roots, but when she entered university, she immediately sought out the Indigenous Student Center and began learning more about her culture. A quote by Alanah Jewell: "I hope that my art encourages people to seek out understanding on a deeper level, whether it's understanding history, culture, art, responsibilities, or even self. I think it's so important for each of us to deeply understand the world around us and within us. Many of us exist so blissfully unaware of who we are and the world we are participating in every day. So I want people to feel calm, happy, and relieved when they see my work, but I hope it sparks motivation to learn and discover, whatever that looks like for each person." An outcome and indicator that could be used to teach a lesson on Alanah Jewell's art could be CH 5.2, compare traditional and evolving art expressions of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit artists from different regions of Canada, and examine influences of pop culture on contemporary arts. Indicator B, identify several contemporary Canadian First Nations, Métis, and Inuit artists, and discuss cultural traditions and ideas reflected in their work. The artwork could teach children about the interconnectedness between nature and land. Jewell makes sure when she's putting an animal in one of her paintings that she includes the environment that it would typically live in and the food that it would eat. Lastly, some other pieces of Jewell's artwork could teach that it doesn't have to be meaningful with an explanation, other than that's just what they felt like creating that day. As Jewell stated, this is important too.
In addition to this, an educator may also have students identify differences or similarities in various art pieces. For example, Alanah Jewell's art may be used to determine how a wide range of Indigenous cultures across Canada have different artistic styles simply based on unique traditions or knowledge that has been passed down to them. By using Jewell's style of work that includes plants and animals, one might consider looking at Christy Belcourt's dot art resembling animals and/or plants and identifying how these pieces tell similar stories but have very contrasting styles.
Many of us can relate to Alanah Jewell with not growing up in our culture, but as an adult seeking that connection to it. Alanah inspires many with showing us that we can connect to our culture through art and putting ourselves into the community. Alanah's art has been influential for many people, especially at the Waterloo University, where she has ran many collaborations. Indigenous students have said seeing her artwork in the halls makes them feel seen on campus. Even non-Indigenous students have said that they feel like they have a place to learn about Indigenous art and history within the campus. Alanah Jewell will continue to inspire Indigenous people to dig more into culture and community and to show that you can find your passion when least expected, just like she did when she was doodling on a plane to Scotland.